But I want to get into Dan James, right? So Dan James is a big talking point. Now, I put out a tweet after the Wolves game that, shall we say, it irked a few people and it ruffled a few feathers. Now, I have no problem with Daniel James. I want to start off by saying that. He comes across as a lovely lad. He's living his dream. He is a workaholic. He will run up and down the pitch for you all day long. He has pace to burn, and he's got a little bit of technique. But me and Vecchi wanted to bring up a subject today that we feel is quite polarising, because on Twitter, Manchester United Twitter right now is toxic. I don't know if you've seen some of the tweets.
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
Oh, it's horrendous to even look at, right? So the question me and Vecchi are going to ask today, and I want everyone's opinions in the comments, and you can tweet us if you want as well, because this is a subject we're going to talk about now. We can revisit in 6 months' time, we can revisit in a year's time, we can revisit in 18 months' time. But the question I want to ask you, I'll let you go first. Do you think Daniel James will make it at Manchester United?
Now, I want to be careful answering this because...
Say it with your chest. Say it with your goddamn chest.
I think that he can. Now, there's a difference between he can and he will.
You are like just a fucking fence sitter. Look at you.
But what I will say is that I genuinely do believe that he can.
So that's a yes from you then.
So it is a pretty much a yes.
You can elaborate on your yes if you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to though.
No, I will. I will give a little bit. But the reason why I'm not going to sort of go completely all in on the 100% he will is because history will tell us that he won't. Now you look at some of the youngsters beforehand, like a Zaha, even some like a Memphis Depay, and those just two come to my head straight away. Mm-hmm. You go back as people, Gabriel Obertan, he's another one.
Obertan was always shit though, in fairness.
But we've signed a lot of young wingers and players over the years that have never come off, right? Mm-hmm. Name me someone that has been a huge success other than Cristiano Ronaldo. Nani was decent. He was inconsistent, but he was on. He's better
than the rest.
Valencia was a winger to a certain point, and he was a decent servant. So history will tell us that he might not actually go on to amount to very much, but you did highlight his pace is obviously one huge asset, and obviously we've seen it in parts. But he's very, very young, and I think that his development to a certain extent, like Ian Roberts mentioned on Twitter, depends on how well Solskjaer also deals with him. Because
very true.
The question I would ask you is, do you think that how his development goes would vary depending on whether he's under the management of Solskjaer, Klopp, or Guardiola?
Yeah, management is huge. Playing style is huge.
He's been given chances. He's going to get a lot of game time, which can't be said for people like Phil Foden and things like that.
No, but here's the difference, right? And I'm gonna lay it out so you can play it out, right? I'm gonna say he doesn't make it, and I don't say that with any passion in my voice, because
it's not you don't want him
I want him to make it.
Yeah.
I really do. He comes across as a really nice lad, and after everything that happened with his father, it's one of those sort of underdog stories. I want to pick a starting point so I can try and articulate this well. You mentioned Wilfried Zaha and Memphis Depay, right? Both of those players had significantly more ability than Daniel James. Is that a fair shout?
Yeah, I would say so.
It's a fair shout, right? Now, Memphis Depay came out recently, and he is with Lyon right now, and he said, the worst thing I ever did was move to Manchester United. I wish I had someone advise me to move to a club bigger than PSV, but smaller than Manchester United. From a development point, me and Vecchi, we always talk about a stepping stone club. Now, you look at a James Maddison, for example. James Maddison took a stepping stone. He's gone, where was he initially? He was at Norwich. He's gone to Leicester. Now he's done it at Leicester. He looks to business. He's ready for that step up. Renato Sanchez has just not joined Lille. Now, Renato Sanchez should have done is he should have gone from Benfica to a bigger club than Benfica, but a smaller club than Bayern, which gives him a chance to develop. Both those players, Zaha included as well, got chewed up and spat out at bigger clubs, because there is no mercy. At a bigger club, an elite club, clubs that want to be up here, you do it now. There's no time to wait. And yes, Daniel James has scored 2 goals, right? But we have to bear this in mind. The only other club that was interested in Daniel James was Leeds. That's it. Now, the bigger clubs, they all have the same shopping list, right? Everybody wants the same players. They're all competing for the same players. What I scratch my head about is, why no one else in that top 6 looked at Daniel James and thought, we want him.
It's not always the case, though.
I think more often than not now it is.
Remember
It's
when
such a small market.
Liverpool signed Coutinho for £8 million. Nobody else went in for him. There are examples.
There are examples, but when it comes to British players, they already know who's who and what's what. Now, Daniel James has ability, but United are asking him now to be the main man in attack. And last year he was a championship player. And as Ian Roberts, shout out to Ian, he pointed out Daniel James is actually very underdeveloped. He only started really playing towards the end of the year for Swansea. Now, when you take a player who's playing in a mid-table championship side and a club that's going to play or is challenging for an elite place at the top table, you're asking an awful lot of Daniel James. And as I said, he is surrounded right now by bottle jobs and inconsistency. And I think that is what's going to let him down, because I don't think Solskjaer will be manager by the end of the season. And right now, Daniel James is an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer passion project. Solskjaer's given him all this game time. I think if another manager came in, they go, hang on a minute, who's he? Would Daniel James get in at a Man City?
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, not in front of their front three, of course he
would. Would he
wouldn't.
get in at a Liverpool?
No.
No. Would he get in at Real Madrid?
No.
No. Would he get in at a Barca?
Of course he wouldn't.
Bayern?
No.
No. And this is the point I'm making. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
But what I would say is that you could probably say that any young player in the world won't get in front in any of those.
No, that's true, and that's very true. But these clubs are not taking chances on a Daniel James. They're buying established quality. Mm-hmm. It's all good saying Daniel James works hard. That's fine. I watched Daniel James multiple times for Swansea play live. He was okay. I didn't sit there and go, this guy could play for a top 4 club. I looked at him and I thought, he could play at the top end of the Championship or the bottom end of the Premier League and use that as a stepping stone. And in a few years' time, maybe 2 or 3 seasons, he might get a bigger move.
I mean, like a Mason Mount or Harry Wilson.
Well, exactly. I mean, Harry Wilson. Look, I mean, let's look at it like this. You take the top players, right? The top young players. We'll create tiers right now, just for argument's sake. Tier 1, you've got Sancho, you've got Vinicius, you got João Felix, right? Mm-hmm. Tier 2, you would then put in a Phil Foden. You could put in James Maddison to a degree. Yeah. He's doing bits, and there's probably a few others out there as well, right? Tier 3, you could then, if we use the Welsh players for an example, you have Brooks, very good player, lit up the Premier League last season, quite well developed. Harry Wilson scored an absolute screamer yesterday against City. Literally one of the best goals that I've probably ever seen from a free kick. Unbelievable. Very well developed. Scored almost, I think it was close to 20 goals in the Championship last year. They are significantly more advanced than Daniel James in terms of their development. But they're at smaller clubs where there's less pressure. Yes. Bournemouth is a perfect place for those players to go, develop, and in 2 or 3 years' time, then get that move. Because Harry Wilson could have stayed at Liverpool. He could have took the money, but he said, you know what, let me take this step back to develop and then move forward. Daniel James is at the wrong club to develop. And I feel like Manchester United, with the inconsistency they have, the lack of character they have, the fact I don't think Solskjaer will even be manager there next season, is a problem for him moving forward, bro. Because if another coach comes in, they might not utilise him the way Solskjaer does. I don't think he'll make it.
You may very well be right, but I don't think he's going to play every game for a start.
I think they don't have much choice right now.
No, I actually don't think he is going to play every game. He's started the last 2 fixtures, right?
Who would you play on the right instead of him though?
Well, you've got you got obviously Martial and you've got Lingard and you've got Rashford as a 3. Mm-hmm. Greenwood obviously is another option. He's another youngster.
Greenwood again, a good, decent option off the bench, but very underdeveloped.
I just think that he needs more time.
And do you know what?
And he will get it.
I am not against him having time, right? But that time shouldn't be with Manchester United. And I want Daniel James to succeed, right? But here's the thing. When Manchester United offer you a contract, it's like someone giving you a winning lottery ticket. It's impossible to just turn it down, right? His advisors, they need to be neutral on the situation. I don't know if they maybe saw pound signs. I don't know if they saw something in it for them. But in the cold light of day, they have to pull him to one side and say, look, I don't know if this is the right move for you right now. Because, again, he's very underdeveloped. And I just feel like he's going to get sandbagged somewhere down the line. I can't see him making it. I can't.
If he's going to do what he did on Saturday, even just once in a game, then he won't do that badly.
Well, look, again, I have to salute him for that, because that
Very good goal.
It was a very good finish. But, and this is the big but, United want to dine at the top table. And again, if United somehow get Champions League football next season, they're going to go in for bigger players. And again, that's going to limit his time playing. I don't think United is the place for him. I think he'll be a success at a smaller club, and I think he'll have a very good career. I hope he does, for the sake of Welsh football. But to summarise, at this point, I don't think Daniel James will make it at Manchester United. You do.
I think he can.
You think he can? You're such a fucking fence sitter. But what we'll do, we'll revisit this topic in 6 months' time or 12 months' time, and we'll see how he's coming along. But me and Vaki wanted to put that out there because it's a good debate to have. You know, there's plenty of people that will think yes, and plenty of people that will think no. So again, let us know in the comments what you think. Tweet us. Let us know on IG. We'll interact with you with social. We want to discuss it.